It was determined by Glamorgan Spring Bay Council in April 2017 all ordinary and special meetings of council are to be audio visually recorded and live streamed. However, due to changed circumstances related to the coronavirus, a link will be available on the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council website to the YouTube platform where the public can view the meeting if available and listen to recordings of previous council meetings within 5 days of this meeting taking place. In accordance with the Local Government Act 1993 and Regulations 33, these video audio files will be retained by council for at least 6 months and made available for viewing live, as well as online within 5 days of the scheduled meeting. The written minutes of a meeting, once confirmed, prevail over the video audio recording of the meeting. I welcome councillors, staff and Ms. Lynn Mason. And this is via live streaming, and declare the meeting open at 2:03 p.m. The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. All councillors are present. In attendance, we have Mr. Ian Pearce as Council's Acting General Manager, Ms. Josie Higgins, Council's Executive Officer, and Ms. Lynn Mason, Consultant. I request elected members to indicate whether they have 1, any interest, personally or via a close associate as defined in Section 49 of the Local Government Act 1993, or 2, any conflict as described in Council's Code of Conduct for councillors in any item included in the agenda. Okay. Thank you. Item 2.1 is the Statement of Expectations. On page 5, there's a recommendation on the same page. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Browning.
That Council adopts the draft Statement of Expectations and authorises the Acting General Manager to send the draft statement to the Director of Local Government for his endorsement.
Okay, Councillor Browning, I'm finding it quite difficult to hear you, so if you're able to make sure you face the microphone. If you could just repeat that, please.
That Council adopts the draft Statement of Expectations and authorises the Acting General Manager to send the draft statement to the Director of Local Government for his endorsement.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Churchill. Councillor Browning, would you like to speak to your motion?
Through the Mayor, yes, please. I will support this recommendation, not that I don't hold some reservations that there are other areas within the organisation that require reform. As one of 8 councillors at Glamorgan Spring Bay Council, we have been recommended by the Director of Local Government to undertake this process. I would also like to thank Ms. Lynn Mason for kind and helpful counsel she provided me during this very difficult time. Hopefully, this will help us reach a trusted, respectful and respected Glamorgan Spring Bay Council, which will enable us to provide for the health, safety and welfare of our community, representing the interests of the community, and provide for the peace, order and good government that of the municipal area. I look forward to the outcome.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill?
Yes, Mayor Wisby, I'd just like to support everything that Councillor Browning has said there. And if I just make the comment that I think in the officer's report, the second paragraph there actually encompasses nearly everything that we would expect to do in one paragraph. It says the purpose of this Statement of Expectations is to articulate the commitment of the Mayor, General Manager and councillors to a shared mutual responsibility for adopting appropriate working relationships to maximise the good government of the Glamorgan Spring Bay community. And I would also like to thank Lynn Mason for her help, as Annie has already done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Arnold?
Thank you, Mayor. I will speak against this motion and the statement of expectations document as presented. With the exception of some terminology specific to Glamorgan Spring Bay and the inclusion of a couple of paragraphs that seemingly legitimise actions that were of concern and ultimately brought us to the recommendation from the Director and the Minister to undertake this process. The document is written and formatted as Huon Valley Council and Glenorchy City Council's work, even down to the same colour scheme. It is substantially the same document that was rejected by this council in January 2019, when it was suggested as a mediation starting point by a now former staff member who was at the time, if I recall correctly, acting general manager. The very strong view of this council at that time was that a statement of expectations in the format suggested was not necessary or acceptable. On that basis, I don't understand why we would now accept it as the panacea for good governance at Glamorgan Spring Bay, and I will be voting against the process. Thank you.
Somebody to speak for? Okay, I think due to the... Sorry, we've lost somebody. Okay. We've lost Deputy Mayor Woods. If we could just hold on a moment until she's able to reconnect. I'll just say, though, in the meantime, I think with the importance of this document, that's important that each person has an opportunity to speak. So I'll go around each person for their feedback once Deputy Mayor Woods returns. Welcome back, Deputy Mayor. Can you hear us?
Thank you. Sorry, I don't know what's going on, but I'll try all sorts of stuff and it won't. I've just got to go back around it manually again. So sorry about that.
That's okay. Councillor Simons?
Yeah, I've got a lot of reservations about this document. My expectations for myself are quite clear under the Local Government Act. I don't think this document's at all necessary. For me, it's common sense, and I like to think I act in an open, transparent manner all times. So I feel like we've been railroaded into it by the Local Government Act and by certain actions we've taken as a council, I imagine. So it doesn't have my support.
Okay, so Councillor Simons, just clarify there. So we voted to do this process, but you're not happy with the process. Is that correct?
The process is, I'm not questioning the process. I'm questioning the content of it. I feel like this is all covered under the Local Government Act as how to act and behave as a councillor. I felt like, in a sense, we were quite pressured to agree to this way forward, and having had time to reflect on that, I just don't feel like it's been a good use of everyone's time, or a good use of ratepayers' money, for that matter.
Councillor Breeny?
Thank you, Mayor.
Can you just come forward, Councillor Breeny?
I'll be supporting the motion on the basis that, like as councillors have mentioned previously, it was something that was required to be undertaken by the Director of Local Government, and I consider that whether or not the document of itself is relevant to us or to me as an individual, which I believe that it could be or might not be. I consider myself open, transparent and ethical as well. And I don't believe that I need to express that to anybody other than through my actions and the way that I deal with issues in council. But considering that this was an item that was a requirement of the Director of Local Government, that the Minister was the person who apparently was overseeing this issue, and that it was a way for us to move forward and to reassure in particular, and this is my particular interest, to reassure the staff that there is a basis for which they can and will be able to assert how they and councillors interact. I find that a lot of the problem that's occurred in the past has been a misunderstanding from wherever it came from as to the actions of councillors in relation to their relationships and dealings with staff, with the General Manager, etc. This document is a clear way to make sure that there are ground rules and foundations on which all of us, that is staff, councillors, mayor and General Manager and Director of Local Government. Jenny has dropped out again.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor Woods, I think we just need to, maybe Deputy Mayor Woods may wish to come in by telephone. Just hold with me there for a moment, please. I'd audio here, would I? Or
We've been bombed.
yes. So I'm going to, I've got you on my phone. I'm just going to put you on speaker.
It keeps dropping out.
Yeah, sure. So Deputy Mayor Woods is now on the phone, on my phone on speaker. So Deputy Mayor, I will come to you in the roundabout as we go around each person on each matter, okay?
Yep.
You obviously can't raise your hand.
Okay, I've got you back now.
Okay, so we might just keep the phone there, and when you drop out,
when I drop out.
Sure. Okay, so sorry, Councillor Brennan.
Getting feedback from your phone, Jenny.
No, it's my phone. It's done. I've hung up. That's fine. Councillor Brennan.
If I can continue, what I see this document is a foundation and a basis for us to be able to avoid what's happened in the past, where there's been misunderstanding or where there has been breaches of good government and good governance in dealings with councillors, with between staff, councillors, General Manager, etc. If for no other reason than it is the basis for everybody for somewhere to start, I will support this. Although I understand that there will be some misapprehensions about being forced and, you know, basically we were told that we had to do this, or the alternative might be that there'd be some action by the Minister. I believe that this is a way that we can both satisfy the Director, the Minister, and satisfy staff, the General Manager, councillors and the Mayor. We have a basis of expectations as to how we interact with one another, and that's why it's quite simple for me to support it, although I may not agree with the principle of the thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Woods.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, through you, I'm a bit perplexed with this now, given the situation with our former general manager no longer, where this was sort of directed at, no longer with us, and I'm having trouble understanding the relevance of actually going through this now. So I won't be supporting this today.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes, through you, Mayor Wisby. I will be supporting this document because I think it's the sort of document that most organisations and businesses should be happy to sign up to, regardless of what the principles were behind it or what precedents there were to leading to the director wanting us to do this, because to me, it's just a basic common sense approach to running an organisation, and I will be signing it and supporting it because I think it's the way forward for us to move on and get over some of this stuff that's clearly been happening. I mean, I'm new, but clearly there's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes with council staff, councillors and whoever, and I think by signing up to this we can move forward and progress with our agenda. And, you know, my policy's always been do no harm. And I can't see any harm being done by supporting this document, so I'll be doing that.
Thank you. I feel the statement of expectation document is a valuable document. It's user-friendly. It provides guidance now and into the future. I thank all councillors, the General Manager, for their involvement through this process, and particularly Ms Mason and Mr Priest for providing clarity and solutions that have and will continue to improve the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council. I see absolutely no reason not to sign this document. There is nothing in this document that is a negative. It's proper business practice. It will improve the council, and it has improved the council because just by working through the document itself, there's already been significant improvements. So I see no reason not to sign the document. The Local Government Act doesn't stipulate what's in this document. These are solutions to various issues that have arisen over time, and I appreciate having solutions now written into a document. It certainly provides me with clarity, but I think it provides all elected members with clarity, and also staff and the General Manager. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and we can always refer back to this document. So I think it's incredibly valuable, and I fully support it, and I appreciate the process that was undertaken throughout this period of time to get to this point where we have this document, because I think it's been incredibly valuable for us all, and it's perfectly reasonable and makes good business sense. So based on that, I will now, there's nobody else that needs to say something. No, yeah, Councillor Breeny.
If I'm permitted, just to mention, there are one or two issues in relation to formatting and things like that before it goes, it's presented to the director, and I'd be very interested to see the director's comments, and I think that's when we should start quite a discussion on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms Mason?
No, sorry, I forgot that I'm not part of the meeting, but the problems with the formatting and so forth will be fixed before the document goes.
Okay. Ms Mason, you've had obviously a lot to do with this document and assisting us in bringing it together. Did you have any comment that you wish to make at this point?
Thank you, Mayor Wisby. I just would like to thank those councillors, all the councillors who've given Greg and me their time and input into this process. I think it has been helpful. I particularly liked, interestingly, Councillor Robinson's take on this, which is if there's no harm in it and it's aspirational, then that's a fair statement of where we want to be. So it's not, I think where council has moved in the couple of months that we've been here is from being very concerned about having the sins of the past visited on the children of the present, as it were, because there was considerable ill feeling about that. There was a feeling amongst many of the councillors, some of you have only been there a short time, relatively speaking, that because of problems in the past with the council and heritage of practices and so forth, that things needed to be addressed, and it was not the fault, if you like, the blame couldn't be placed on those people who are now holding office. But I think we've moved past that, which I'm very glad about, because even though it was not, many of these actions were not done by people in this room, they weren't even on the council at the time, nevertheless there was, I think there has been a broad recognition that as a statement of good behaviour, then that's what this is. Just, if I may, just taking up Councillor Simon's point about what's in the Act. Legislation does cover a broad spectrum, but it's what you absolutely have to do. It still allows for some very poor behaviour, and I'm not attributing that in any way to this council, but it does allow for some very poor behaviour despite what's in the Act, and the Act simply cannot cover that sort of thing. So that was the point of this document, and I'm very pleased that it's got as far as it has. I don't know what will happen when it goes to the director if this motion is successful, but I would certainly wish all of you who've tried very hard to get the best they possibly can out of this, all the very best for the future.
Thank you. Mr. Pearce, would you like to make comment?
I think I agree with Councillor Robinson, you know, and what Lynn has said. If it does no harm and people are saying that it has been beneficial, then I think it's got to be worthwhile, and I think it should be supported by councillors. As Lynn said, you can't cover everything in the Act. It does leave holes. It can allow certain behaviours to occur. I think all you're doing is I think what this document does is try to show good faith so that we can get that working relationship back with staff and the General Manager, whoever that may be. That'd probably be about the only comments that I'd like to make at this time.
Thank you. Okay, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Councillor Churchill, Councillor Robinson, Browning and myself, and against? Councillor Arnold, Simons. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor, where were you in that?
She's gone.
Dropped out.
Sorry, so far we've got against Councillor Arnold and Councillor Simons, and I'll just need to call in. Are you there? Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker so you can advise how you're voting. Won't be a moment.
I just wanted to say something before I could.
Right. Well, we've already put the motion, Deputy Mayor, so we're at the point of voting now. So.
Yep. Okay.
So how do you vote?
I vote yes.
For it?
Yes.
You vote for it. Okay. So in that case, we've got for Deputy Mayor, Councillor Churchill, Wisby, Browning, Robinson and Breeny, and against Councillor Arnold and Simons.
Am I able to speak or not?
No, it's gone. The motion
Gone.
is carried.
Okay, thank you.
So, well, are you just going to sort of hang on there on the phone?
Yeah,
Do
and
you
I'll try, if I get back up again, I'll hang up on you.
Okay. Sorry. In accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2015, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. There's personnel matters, drought communities program and implementation of measures. And implementation of measures by Glamorgan Spring Bay in dealing with the COVID-19. So we should, oh yes, we've got Deputy Mayor coming back in. You're back in, Deputy Mayor, thank you. You can, yes. So those items are closed in accordance with section 15(2)A, 2B and 2G. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Arnold?
I'll move that council moves into closed session. I can't tell you the time, unfortunately. I don't have that in front of me.
That would be 2:27.
Right, thank you.
And someone second, please. Councillor Churchill. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. We just wait now for the live streaming and the recording of the meeting to be switched off. If you could just stay online, please.